there's a lot of Washingtonians that go vacation in Coeur d'Alene because it's beautiful over there. The issue is that apparently some of those Washingtonians forget that in Idaho, they actually enforce the laws that are on the books. And so the sheriff in Kootenai County wanted to remind vacationers in Washington that they should probably be aware of that before they come over. They put out a public service announcement. I posted it to my Facebook page if you want to read the whole thing. But they said, if one chooses to possess controlled substances or engage in any criminal behavior, Seattle, Spokane, and the entire state of Washington is a wonderful place to enjoy July 4th celebrations. The sheriff said, don't come to Kootenai County on vacation and leave on probation. Love it. So anyway, I reached out to them right away and I said, oh my gosh, Sheriff Norris has got to come on the show. He was nice enough to say yes and join us to talk about the public service announcement. Sheriff Norris, welcome to Undivided.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Let's start with giving Brandi a lesson on how to say your county. Go ahead.
Kootenai County, welcome to freedom. Freedom USA. We love our freedoms here, and we love the law and order that we have here in Kootenai County.
Well, I was also going to ask you what it's like to be a sheriff in a state where they enforce the laws.
You know what? We do enforce the laws, and some of them I don't enforce. Such as some stuff that came out right at in 2020 when I got elected. I didn't enforce some of those mandates, that's for sure.
Oh, and did you suffer any consequences for that?
Oh, sure. You know, we got emails for saying that I'm going to make sure everybody gets killed here in Kootenai County, but a vast majority of the freedom-loving citizens here in Kootenai County said, great job, Sheriff. That's why we elected you.
Yeah. So I read your guys' little public service announcement yesterday. I had a good laugh at it. We were out of town for work and laughing at it on the drive home. How much of it is meant to just be funny, and how much of this is actually a problem of people from our state going over there not being used to your system of justice?
Only 100% of it. So even though there might be a little bit of comedy with the bed and breakfast, it's actually very, very true. So we actually did statistics in 2021, and of the 93 people that were arrested on that weekend, 46% or 43 of them came from residents of Washington.
Wow. So what kind of crimes are they committing, allegedly?
Anything from petty theft to robbery, under the influence, driving, operating either a boat or a vehicle under the influence. It's a whole spectrum.
Now, do you think there really is an element of, I know you're familiar with some of the issues we've had with, for instance, police not being able to chase people here. They don't really enforce the drug laws, et cetera. Do you think there really is an element of people who are like, oh, I'm going to go do drugs in Idaho for 4th of July weekend thinking that I can get away with it because I usually can?
We actually have intelligence, really good intel, that there's a lot of criminals in Idaho. I'm sorry, a lot of criminals in Washington and Spokane specifically that talk to other criminals saying, you know what, we're not going to go to Idaho because they take things pretty serious over there. We're not going to do a transaction. We're not going to do a buy. We're not going to do a sell in Idaho because it's against the law. And you will go to jail or prison if we catch you. So there is an element of it, absolutely.
Well, yeah, it seems like if I'm a drug dealer, I'm not, Sheriff, don't worry. But if I were a drug dealer and I had to choose between selling drugs in Washington State over the 4th of July weekend and selling drugs in Idaho, I would definitely stay in Washington State.
Absolutely. We've had some consequences of what the legislature has done in Washington. We get people that think that once they get into Washington, we can't chase them. Oh, we chase them.
Oh, can you chase them under the law? You don't have to stop at the state line?
Oh, we chase them. And then they think, well, we thought since we were in Washington, you couldn't chase us. Oh, no, we're chasing you.
Oh, you're funny. We need to have you back on more often.
We're chasing you. We're going to arrest you. And we're going to bring you back to Idaho. And you're going to face the consequences of your actions.
Now, I also read in this public service announcement, no weed. It's just weed, Sheriff. It's just weed. It's legal over here.
You know what? The weed today is 20 times stronger than the weed of 20 years ago. And we're seeing some pretty addictive properties in this marijuana. And every community that I worked, because my law enforcement doesn't come from here, but every community that I worked, I heard all the arguments. Oh, it's going to lower crime. Oh, it's going to put people in rehabilitation. Oh, it's going to do this. Wherever it was legalized in my former employer, none of that happened.
Yeah.
Crime went up. The quality of life in the community and where those dispensaries were went down, and the residents hated it.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely some communities here that don't particularly like it either. But just a couple broad questions before
Sure.
we cut you loose. We have some real issues keeping law enforcement in agencies around here. We have the lowest number of police officers per capita of any state in the nation. And I know there are a lot of other jurisdictions struggling with keeping law enforcement officers in the profession. Are you guys seeing those issues over there?
We're actively recruiting any Seattle police officer that would like to come to protect the freedoms and enforce the law on bad people and have a legislature and a sheriff and a community that supports you. Come on over. But, we have had some challenges. The last couple of years have been kind of, a little bit weird, a little bit different, but we're stable. We're not hemorrhaging people. This community supports its law enforcement. This sheriff supports law enforcement. And the legislature will never, I promise you, will never dictate what type of law enforcement tools that we're going to have in our toolbox to catch bad guys.
Well, Sheriff, it's so fascinating. You guys are so close, but worlds away from what's happening in Washington State. So, Sheriff Norris, we appreciate you being here. And on behalf of any Washingtonians who might come with nefarious intent, I apologize.
I accept your apology, but there still will be consequences.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
So you've heard the sheriff. You can go to Idaho on vacation, but if you break the law, you very well may leave on probation because they actually enforce the law of there. And don't embarrass our state. Don't embarrass our state and account for 50% of their jail bookings over the holiday weekend. If you want to break the law, do it in Washington.